to add a customer record in Freeagent. So here we are on the dashboard. All we have to do is scroll up to the left hand side and click on Contacts. Once loaded up, this is where all our contacts will be, not just customers but also suppliers. So Freeagent likes to keep things as simple as possible rather than having two separate sections. Everything's just recorded in the one space. And to add one, all we do is click on the Add New Contact button at the right hand side. So if we click on that, we're then presented just with a list of fields, and we just go down them one by one and just add the details in that we need to add. So let's say, for example, we're just going to add a new customer called John Smith. So we just populate the fields. Here we go. John Smith Limited. John at smithlimited.com. The email address is quite an important bit of kit because the cloud softwares allow us to maintain things in a paperless manner. All communication tends to go through email, especially with Freeagent. So if in the future you raise a sales invoice for these guys, it will basically bring up this email address and send it to them automatically, unless you fill in something for the billing email address. So, for example, this may be the main contact, but the billing address might be accounts@smithlimited.com. So I'm just going to leave the billing email address free, just because I'm just going to use the John at email address, and then just continue to fill in some information here. And then moving down, if you're not seeing my cursor move, it's just basically because I use the tab key on my keyboard just to go to the next field. That's quite a useful tip. So 123 Street, Best Village, and United Kingdom's fine for what we need it for. So we then move on to invoicing options. So Freeagent's quite good at this. Some software providers just ask you for their contact details, name, address, telephone number. Freeagent's trying to get as much information off you as possible before you can actually continue. And this is setting up the payment terms for this particular contact. So default payment terms, for example, would be if we give these guys a 15 days payment term. So when we raise an invoice, what will happen is Freeagent will then add 15 days on and say the invoice will become due 15 days after the date of the invoice. Freeagent will also automate any debt chasing emails that you want to do based on these default payment terms. So if these guys are getting very close to their due date, Freeagent can email them and say, look, just don't forget about us, we've got an invoice due for payment soon. Or if they go over, again, Freeagent can automatically contact these guys and say, look, invoice has now become due, please pay as soon as possible. So quite important to put some payment terms in there just to help automate your bookkeeping side of things. The other boxes are they're more specific to projects and things like that, so we'll just brush over them for the time being. And then the next bit is, do we charge VAT to this contact, or is this contact VAT registered? So we're just going to put a dummy number in there. And the language that we want to put in is English. So after we've filled most of this information out, we just click Create New Contact. If you want to continue and add another, we can do that. But for now, I'm just going to click Create New Contact. We then go back to the dashboard, and what I'm going to do for this customer is I'm actually going to go back to all the contacts again and just scroll down to show you where they've appeared. And as you can see, John Smith Limited's there. So if we ever needed some contact details for these guys, we can find their phone number, their email address this way. If we click on them, we can get even more information, such as their specific dashboard that takes us through the invoices that we've raised to them, the cash that we've received or paid if these guys end up being a supplier, and edit them basically. If you wanted to, if they move premises or anything like that, then we want to edit the contact details. So that's all there is to it. Hope that's helped, guys. Thanks for watching.